son?
Yes.
I'd like to welcome all Rotarians and guests in the room and on Zoom. Today, my name is Steve Sperling, and I'm the president for 2025-2026 for the Rotary Club of Rochester. Each month, Rotary highlights a theme of interest to all Rotary clubs throughout the world. The August theme is membership and new club development. As you know, this year, keep a reminder from Dave's year, last year, there, that's just kind of fun. The theme highlighted by President Francesco Areza is United for Good. Sarah Gilland is going to help us with the 4-way test today. You could stand as you are able.
And if you don't have it memorized, our poster is right up here to my left. Oh, and Joseph's got it on the screen, so they can go see it.
Oh.
All right, all the things.
We thank you, Mayor. First is the truth. Second is the fair law and concern. Third, will it build goodwill and better friendships? And fourth, will it be beneficial to all concerned?
And fifth, is
fun.
If you could remain standing, and please join me in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge of Allegiance.
This is the flag of the United States of America, and the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. Happy Thoughts today. Our current total is $155 as we make our way towards our goal of $1,000 for the year. Before we start on the Happy Thoughts, John, was there any contribution today for the extra $1? Okay, John will give us the total after Happy Thoughts.
You have someone else do it?
Yeah, thank you.
All right, everybody here, Dave first.
So my happy thought is in with John, and likewise is Cheryl. My happy thought was for the celebration of my grandaunt's 108th birthday down in Buffalo, Wyoming. She's the oldest person in Wyoming, and she's edging up on many other states as we go. So we had a great time with family down in Buffalo, Wyoming. It was kind of a family reunion and celebrating. So great time. Thanks, Dave.
Right over here. Happy thoughts. Frank, last shot.
Just happy to have met Mr. Howe, who's joining our club, and he works with the United Nations, which is a dream job that I've had for a while, but it's nice to have extra mentors and coaches.
There you go. We're over here. Yep.
Yeah. Mine would be, so I had another birthday yesterday, and I didn't do anything nearly as exciting. I worked on my email, we had dinner together, which was the nicest part of my day.
Absolutely. Awesome. All right. What else? I saw a hand up over here.
We go to Medicare representation a couple of weeks ago. Honored the military, a lot of fun. Thank you.
Here, let's already in.
My happy birthday today is going to my granddaughter. She's been fighting leukemia. She gets the ring bell.
Hey! All right, George Allen.
Yeah, I put it 5 because I've got a new granddaughter.
Great.
Today, who was adopted by my daughters, and so this little girl is two and a half years old down in Iowa.
And I watched the proceedings online of her adoption while I was heading to Dave and Cheryl, so I couldn't get to it. So congratulations. Alan's have another one. Anyone else over here, guys? Anyone else? Okay, thank you.
Now, do you have a total at all?
Oh, I'll run this back with
John will update that in a minute with the total. For reflection today, Greg Hoskinson, $11. Okay, thank you. Greg Hoskinson will be giving our reflection.
Well, good morning to you all. I want to tell you that my reflection is purely personal. It is a reflection of almost 22 years in Rotary and joining the second club of my life. I spent 21 years with the Rotary Club of Denver Southeast, which was probably a little bit more active than you because it was a little bit, well, you guys were bigger than we were a few years ago. But we've done things in Africa, all over the world. And I'm really excited about joining this club and all of you, particularly for the things you do in Rochester. One of the things that Denver Southeast seemed to forget was that it was part of a community. And my reflection today is the thankfulness that Rotary is also community, not just worldwide. Thank you.
Mark is going to help us today with introduction of guests.
Thank you very much, President Steve. I believe we only have one guest here so far. I'm looking around the room. I haven't been here for a little bit, but my name is Mark Drifts. Anybody wants to remember who I am? Great to see the Ricklets over there. Everybody's good to see. So we have Son Han here with us today, like Asha just brought him over. Former UN Migration Agency is what he did. Can you give me about a minute of what's bringing you to Rochester? And if you are going to join Rotary, what's the best club?
Actually, I grew up in Lake City, and after high school at Lincoln High, my parents moved up to Rochester. So I've been on and off here in Rochester since 2000-ish. And I joined the UN Migration Agencies since 2006. This year, because of changes in now basically funding. So I came back to Rochester in April, and hoping to contribute my experience and experience abroad to in a meaningful way. You know, so I did a Google search and found Rotary. I also met a good friend of mine in Indonesia when I was with the UN, who was a Rotary Peace Scholar and graduated from Japan. And she talked really a lot about Rotary, and it's more of an international context. So I'm just kind of curious what Rotary USA domestic also do and everything. So yeah, and I've always had a strong belief in service toward the community and giving back. My family received a lot as a Vietnamese refugee from after the war ended in '75. And so we received a lot of support and help when we first landed in Lake City. And it's always been sort of like one of the guiding lights that I use when I move in the world and all here in Rochester.
Okay. Thank you for joining us. Welcome to Rotary today, and come back anytime. And I think that is all, no other guests through this presentation, correct? Okay. One other thing, we had an exchange student from Italy, Sardinia, Italy, show up 2 weeks ago, I believe. So hopefully she will be joining us here at a meeting when she gets used to attending school and she get away. Thank you. Mark.
I want to congratulate all our members with August birthdays and anniversaries like you were able to see in the pre-meeting loop. As we had mentioned before, we are having a drawing today for all the people who signed up to help with our meeting duties the last 2 months. These duties include greeter, forward guest introductions, meal facilitator, and reflection or spotlight, membership spotlight. We'd like to encourage members to sign up before the meeting for these duties. So I'm sending around a sign-up sheet today, and then we'll have our drawing for the people who participated for the last 2 months. I've asked our speaker to do the drawing, so.
I'm a neutral party, so. First person is Vicki Allen.
Vicki Allen, okay. Vicki Allen's
Still traveling.
Vicki Allen's still traveling, but she will get her free lunch for her participation upon her return. Thanks, Vicki. Are there any announcements?
Oh, yeah.
Cheryl has it.
I do. It is now, school started, and it is time to get Strive up and running. And if anyone that doesn't know about Strive, it is a program for students that are at risk, could use some more extra support in their senior year to finish high school and get on to the next phase of their life, whatever that might be. We give scholarships. We pay the kids if they have perfect attendance. We meet 1 time a month. And the whole idea is that every child in this world, if they have just one adult that encourages and helps them along the way, that can make all the difference. And so this year, I'm trying to bring it back to Century and Mayo. It's already been at John Marshall and the ALC for many years. But right now I'm looking for mentors. And ALC, I believe, is going to do the same thing they did last year. They'll be meeting on Fridays, approximately 11:15. Century, JM, and Mayo will be meeting at 8:30 in the morning. Yeah, the timing, give it a little bit of a, because school's just started and we need to identify the kids and we need to figure out exactly what will fit without disrupting their schedule too much. But it will be once a month, either the second or third Fridays of each month, starting in October and ending in May. The requirements for a mentor: listen, connect, give some advice when the kids are interested. If we can pair you with someone that has interests that are similar, or maybe jobs, careers that are similar, that would be phenomenal. You can make all the difference in the lives of these kids, like seriously. The other, you have to be there for 45 minutes, a 45-minute meeting, okay? Once a month. And then connect with them, whether it's a call, a text message, an email, whatever it might be at one other time during the month. Okay? The applications are on your tables. I have them virtually too. If you just let me know, I'll send them to you. By the way, I forgot my button. I see that. I'm Cheryl Mortel. I know I was more interested in getting lunch than getting buttons, apparently. But yeah, please consider this. You can make all the difference in the lives of one of these kids. This is huge for them. Yeah.
This is a 45-minute meeting. Is that a one-on-one meeting?
What we're looking at is we'll have an introductory activity, maybe 20 minutes. And then that will lead into a discussion where the idea is that for 20 minutes, you sit and talk about, so for example, some of the activities were things like I love this one from last year. M&Ms, different colors, and each color represents a different part of your life: career, family, personal life, and you fill your jar. What do you think? What proportion is rich? And it starts this huge discussion. What's important to you? What's the big focus of your life? What do you want to? What matters to you? And then sometimes we'll do like careers. What kind of opportunities? What kind of skills do you have? What are your passions? Okay, and that starts the 20-minute discussion. Of course, the discussion can continue then on the off time, whether it's through an email or in the past, mentors have get very close to these kids. These kids are awesome. The discussion starts long before we get the time to have the discussion. And then the last 5 minutes, sort of a close. Okay.
And is it one-on-one? Is it one-on?
We meet as a group. There are, right now, I'm looking at 5 students from each school. It looks like we'll have more from ALC, okay? And we'll have, for example, Century has 5 mentors, 5 students. We'll meet together as a group in the beginning, and then we'll break off so that you have some personal time in the same room, but you have some personal time just to talk to your student. The kid in this world of kids. Thanks.
Thanks, Cheryl.
Oh, yes, the sheets are on the table. Thank you.
Any other announcements? There's one announcement that I have, and I know that I speak for the entire club in wanting to congratulate Lynn Clary for a resounding tribute to our armed forces and the members. And we had a remarkable 20th Teed Up for the Troops event. And it's hard to believe that it just keeps getting better every year. Thanks, Lynn. Keep it up. We have an update from our grants committee. Stuart, would you like to take a few minutes to tell us what the Rochester Grants Committee is?
My microphone this, or do we have people?
Well, for the people.
All right, folks. So here to give a little bit more information about the Rochester Grants Committee. So essentially 3 things I want to get across to you. One is to build a little bit more awareness around the Rochester Grants Committee, what it is and what we're doing. Second is to share a little bit about the impact that we're having. So we've got some numbers and some amounts and some projects. And then the last is an ask. So you may be aware that Judy O'Fallon was leading this initiative before. Those are huge shoes to fill. So if there are others that want to be part of International Service Committee involved with that and helping plan some of these events and being involved in the grants process, that would be fantastic. So that's kind of the plan. Give you a quick update on who is the Rochester Grants Committee or what we're doing. Essentially what it is, it's a coordination committee between the 3 Rochester clubs. So, and what we are coordinating is the efforts from Rochester to participate in the Rotary District grants and the global grants. So that's kind of why we exist. And the reason or the rationale for the committee is that we can have more impact if we coordinate our efforts between the 3 clubs instead of doing it separately. So as we are meeting, we meet monthly. We're looking at and thinking about the different grant requests that are out there. The grant requests can come from our committee, from our community, but just as likely, it's going to come from clubs around the region and in some cases nationally. So these requests come in, and what we're looking to do is see if these grant requests align with some of our international focus areas. We're looking to see if it's supporting regional and international projects, and we're looking to build partnerships with other clubs in the broader Rotary District. So those are kind of our goals as we're thinking about evaluating the different grants that come in. Last year, we funded 7 programs. We had 7 grants. 2 were in the United States, and 5 of them were outside of the United States. As a group, as a committee between the 3 clubs, we gave $9,000, and that was part of a broader 127,717 grants that was given by the Rotary. So that's the impact that we're having that was just in 1 year. So who are we giving the money to and where are we having an impact? Just you go to the next slide. Here's just a quick rundown of some of the programs and projects and focus areas that we've been working on. So you can see money went to North Togo, Northern Syria, Uganda, and the different projects were sponsored by different clubs in the region. So you can see Stillwater's up there, Prior Lake was there, and then we had some programs and projects that were sponsored from Rochester clubs as well. So in total, we gave 9,000, but part of this larger giving impact that we're having, and some really cool and interesting projects that are having real impact around water and sanitation programs, education programs around the world. So that's a quick overview. If you have questions about the process, if you know of possible grant opportunities, let Caroline or I know. And if you're interested in getting involved on sort of the international aspects of Rotary, this is a great way to participate. Any quick questions, clarifications? Yes, Bob.
Are we funded for this coming year?
We are funded for this coming year, so that it was in this year's budget. That has been a challenge, and we were asking for funds throughout the year last year. So it's fully funded this year, thanks to all the great work and the budgeting that was done on that. And the objective here is to make that sort of an ongoing line item in the budgets moving forward. Other questions? Perfect. All right, thank you, folks.
Thank you, Stuart. Okay, Randy Stocker is going to summarize the ideas that have been put forward for going ahead with our third Thursday meetings, and your input is important on where we will be headed with those next few months of meetings.
We had a board meeting yesterday and we talked about artificial intelligence. And I got a couple of thoughts on it, and I want to get some opinions out there on who uses it and who doesn't. I'm going to start first just to tell you a little bit about it. So what can it do? And answer questions, health information, tech help, how-to guides, help write letters, proposals, speeches, emails, anything you want. Explain complicated topics. I use it for that quite a bit. Like Medicare, Social Security, very user-friendly, easy language. You can assist with travel plans. I want to go to France. In fact, I use it for my recent trip to France and London. Give me some ideas of things to see and things to do. It can be a non-judgmental sounding board for brainstorming ideas. I use this all the time for projects and stuff. How would I put a pancake breakfast together? Give me the steps involved. Give me the time frame. So it's just an amazing tool. What it's not human. Okay? It's not always right, unlike the rest of us. Okay? It's not a replacement for professionals, like doctors, lawyers, that kind of stuff. Give you some idea, get you thinking. Why it matters is not just for young people. Okay? Artificial intelligence can be used by any of us. I use it probably 5 or 6 times a week to make me more productive, to brainstorm ideas I hadn't thought of, to put a letter together, to create a marketing piece. It's becoming part of the everyday life. We've all been through phones, cars, online searches, customer service. You see the world go from rotary phones to smartphones. This is just the next tool. Okay, we've all gone from here to here to here. Well, this is up here. So our board talked about possibly providing some training on AI to the group on the Thursday meetings. And I just want to get a show of hands on 2 things. One, who uses AI? Any? And who would be interested in learning more about AI? So who uses artificial intelligence, ChatGPT? Looks like 80%, something like that. Who would like to learn more about it on a user-friendly explanation from somebody you know and love? Okay. So what we'll do, we'll bring it back to the board. We'll try to put something together for this.
Can you define love there?
We all love Ashok, so we'll put him in charge of this program, okay? So, okay, just so we talked about, I just want to brainstorm a little bit. It sounds like there's a lot of interest, which I appreciate. Not gonna cost anything, it's just sharing ideas and that kind of stuff, so, good, thank you for your time. Tough question.
Say, could you mention that this is part of an idea to have an ongoing discussion group at those meetings to get together and not only socialize, but also to learn. So it's more than just AI. This is just the first step of what we could do with the Thursday meetings.
What Dave said. Thank you.
Yes, I would echo that. It is going to be an ongoing thing, but this is just the first step in what we're going to be doing on those Thursdays. So the board will make a proposal and hopefully we can start that in September. So Marilyn could not be here. Marilyn Dealing could not be here today, and she wanted to ask me to mention that the upcoming Jeremiah program dinner is on September 16th. We can sign up in the Moccasin Flower or Club Runner to donate either financially or a meal and help serve the meal. So we want to note the location change for the happy hour on September 4th for the golf outing. It's going to remain at Willow Creek. There are also a few slots that are still open that I'm pretty impressed. The announcement just went out last weekend. It almost filled instantly, but there are a few slots that are open for Quarry Hill. And again, you can sign up through Moccasin Flower or on Club Runner. With that, I want to introduce our speaker, Alex Higano, who's going to be talking to us today about learning through the world of work. Alex is going to introduce himself, but I want to just uplift that he is a native Rochester person who went through the Rochester public school system himself, like others here in the group, and he turned out great. I can't say the same for the rest of us, but Alex will talk of particular interest. I want you to note he's going to talk about what options are available for employers in the area to put their desires, dreams, requirements for training and jobs in front of these high school students. Alex is in the counseling department with Rochester Public Schools. Alex, thank you.
Thank you so much for having me. Alex Higano, I'm the lead school counselor for Rochester Public Schools. Oh, I believe, Joseph, I need to connect. That's right. Apologize, I'll be right back. Thank you so much. So it's good to be in this space with you today. I grew up playing hockey actually with the VFW 1215 logo on the back of my jersey. So it's good to be in this space with you. I also have a personal connection to Rotary International. One of my really good friends was a Rotarian, went to Brazil on a Rotary International exchange program right after our senior year of high school. And so that was a really powerful experience for her, I know. Let's see if I can find a share button here. Am I sharing the presentation?
Yeah, you may.
There you go. Share screen, okay. Thank you for your patience with me. I believe that's showing, is that correct? Okay. And I have shared these slides out as well, so if there's an email exchange, we can have these slides sent out with links in them as well, so I'll show you. Okay, so as I said, my name is Alex Higano. My role with Rochester Public Schools is that I'm the lead school counselor for the district. And what that means basically is that I support about 50 amazing school counselors in our public school buildings, and also actually a couple in our non-public school buildings throughout the district, kindergarten through 12th grade. We in Rochester are super, super lucky to have elementary school counselors We know that developmentally, students who start doing some self-reflection work and thinking about their self-management and effective decision-making as young as kindergarten can really support their education through the K-12 experience and then planning for beyond high school. So that's what I do as the lead school counselor. I'm lucky to have a couple of amazing colleagues as well, Don Lupon and Heather Hogan. Don is recently started working in Rochester Public Schools as our instructional facilitator of career and technical education. So she's involved in this work as well. And then our director, Heather Hogan, is an amazing support for us, and she is the director of academic supports. So when we think about our kindergarten through 12th grade programming, one of the most important things to me as a school counselor is that we are helping students to find what their spark is, what is their strength, what is the thing that helps them to, as a person, kind of come alive, and how is it that we help them to have them involved in their academics from a personal relevance standpoint, so that their intrinsic motivation for learning is really brought out. And what that requires is for us to help students explore careers, thinking about those 6 career fields. This is the Minnesota Career Wheel. So from agriculture, communications, engineering, health science, human services, and business administration. So we just do a lot of intentional work around that. But of course, our students learn about careers through their family conversations, their friends, their communities, places they visit, social media, possibly AI as well, if they're asking about it. But the intentional work that we do in Rochester Public Schools around experiences both within and outside of the classroom is what we're all about. And we're developing the capacity in conversations with our community, like today, in helping connect both business owners as well as others who are interested in supporting young people and highlighting their business to provide opportunities for students. We want to do this, as I said, to help students find their spark, find their interest, but also because we know that students who engage in the process of exploring and planning for careers tend to engage more deeply in that coursework, become more self-directed, more proactive, right? They become more academically resilient. So if they run into a challenge or a struggle in the classroom, that they have something to kind of fall back on. It's like, why am I learning? What's the purpose of my learning? Right? And also, it just so happens that families become more engaged with their students' education as they become more interested in careers. So we want to be super intentional about supporting students as they explore careers. And in part, it's because we know that students learn essential life readiness skills when they are working, volunteering, or hearing about a career experience, even from a career professional. So hearing, in the classroom, a biology classroom, maybe, a phlebotomy employee comes in from the Mayo Clinic and talks about their experiences there. So those kind of like in-person experiences are super essential for our students to learn life readiness skills. In Rochester Public Schools too, last May, the school board adopted what is called the Rochester Public Schools Mindsets and Behaviors for Student Success. So the mindsets, there's 6 mindsets, and they're about helping students to see themselves in a healthy light, to know that some kind of post-secondary training or experience is useful in the world for their lives and for their economic income. For the behaviors, there's 30 of them. They're, school counseling standards, but they revolve around those things that support our students both in the K-12 experience as well as after. So time management skills, developing positive relationships with others, setting short-term and long-term goals and figuring out the steps that need to be, taken to achieve those goals. So these standards are really, really valuable as we implement our lessons with the students and our activities that support these standards. On the right side of the screen, you can see the 67 steps to success after high school. This was the other thing that was adopted by the school board in May. And when we're thinking about these, we're thinking about like in kindergarten, students are identifying careers in the community, right? They're thinking about what are those learning pathways that, hey, if I want to be a vet, what kind of learning pathway after high school might I, need to embark on? So that even early on, we thought the research shows that students sometimes think of themselves as college material or not college material, even as young as, later elementary school. So if we're helping them connect the dots between, I'd love to work with animals, and, oh, I need some training, to work with animals in that capacity. They begin to see themselves, building their identity around potentially seeking training after high school for that, whether that be 2-year college, 4-year college, any sort of pathway vocational training after high school. So that brings us to this funny name, Xello, Xello. So Xello is a platform. It's a company, really. It's a post-secondary readiness company that offers a product that we use to implement our curriculum and our tasks that we have students do toward this, the 67 steps. It's a platform essentially where students engage with the work. They learn about their post-secondary options. They explore and articulate their dreams and aspirations. They make plans, set goals, and develop concrete action steps, and then ultimately take action. And Xello helps our educators to know where students are in those developmental milestones. So in the past, there's been the habit of checking in with students, right? Making sure that the students that I talked to last week are going off and actually doing that job application, going off and actually talking to that admissions recruiter, going off and actually talking to that armed forces representative, right? Thinking all the pathways. Now we can see within the system, we have data visibility into actionable next steps to support students who aren't meeting those milestones, kindergarten through 12th grade, which is just incredible as an educator, as a school counselor. But this is a tool that helps us to see, has a student taken action toward doing a mock interview? Has a student taken action toward creating a resume? So that's what Xello is. It's an online platform, basically. And I want to show you this video. See, the sound's not coming through, but maybe that's because I'm muted.
Engaged student is a successful student. It's as simple as that.
Can you hear that?
It's saying, I know where I'm going, just show me how to get there. And then you have students who don't think there's anywhere for them to go. You have to be able to support both of those students and everybody in between. Get them to take a real look at themselves and see what that means for their future. When you say to students, to any student, your life is not a one-size-fits-all thing. Let's take a look at who you are and how you learn and what interests you and figure out where that can take you. And let's map out how you can get there. You're giving these kids a real reason to care. They see just how much possibility is out there. That's when the switch flips and a student realizes they have a hand in their own destiny. And that changes how a student's going to view school and learning and their whole story. There is a difference in test scores, in attendance. It's this positive culture around academics. Proof you can point to and say, these kids have the confidence to tackle the next step, whatever that might be. What happens when students are invested in themselves? It's remarkable.
Okay. Raise your hand if you could hear that. Could you hear what she was saying? Thank you. Okay, that's like good. Okay. Apologize for the feedback here. Myself on Zoom. It's so cool that you can do like multiple people in different places in Zoom. So as the video showed, and as I've been talking about, part of what we're talking about with post-secondary readiness, sort of this fancy education research term for, are our students in Rochester Public Schools ready to progress from high school to whatever their pathway is next without the need for remediation? And a lot of people go on to college and have to, pay for credits that don't count toward their post-secondary certificate or diploma because they need remediation, right? Are they ready for post-secondary pathway without the need for remediation? And do they have the skills, knowledge, habits, and mindsets to succeed as an adult? That's what we're talking about when we're talking about post-secondary readiness. And Zello supports that in a couple different ways, as I've been saying: lessons that our school counselors and others lead, activities, career exploration, researching post-secondary schools. There's like 3,600 of them listed on there. And this is the part that I really want to speak to. Go ahead.
I think you're trying to show something that isn't
Oh,
showing.
it's showing on mine.
There you go.
Oh, must have been just a delay. Thank you for pointing that out. This is the part that I want to highlight with you all today, is that we've, over the past couple of years, as this program has been new, with some of the new strategic initiatives that we've been doing in Rochester, that we've been developing relationships with local businesses, organizations, nonprofits, and others to showcase their business or agency to students through the Zello platform, with actually the ability to post opportunities for students and educators too, to engage with our local businesses and agencies from a career readiness standpoint. So helping our students to see, if I take a career survey through this platform and I get matched to aircraft mechanic, well, where in Rochester hires aircraft mechanics? Turns out the Mayo Clinic has a couple. So does, Rochester International Airport. So this platform does so much, and the time that I have today with you to talk about it is mostly about the opportunities our local businesses, agencies, and others have to interface with our students. As I said earlier, we want to think about this through, being inclusive with all pathways. So whether that's straight from high school graduation into the workforce, entering the military or other armed forces, college, 2 or 4 year. We also have a lot of students who graduate, and do supported training or living right after high school, apprenticeship, entrepreneurship, and so forth. So we want to be inclusive about every pathway that's possible, helping students to meet their aspirations. So what do I mean by opportunities? Local businesses and agencies have the opportunities to post opportunities for students, part-time jobs. So we can use it like as a jobs board. There's a lot of companies that are on here already that have posted summer jobs back in April that students then worked over the summer. Volunteer opportunities. So, knowing that a student could see that and say, oh, I've never thought about, volunteering at Quarry Hill and shoveling some rock over there or something. Behind the scenes tours. So Crenlo hosted a couple of students, actually a larger group of students a couple of years ago that would have never seen the line over at Crenlo where they make their cabs and do a bunch of welding and stuff. Guest speakers going into the classroom, job shadows, internships, apprenticeships. We do have a number of career fairs throughout our district happening in our buildings. And the people who get invited, the businesses who get invited, are usually typically reached out to by someone who works in the schools. This is a platform where if it's a local business, agency, nonprofit, they could actually post the opportunity proactively from the business side so that our educators are aware that there's somebody at that business interested in participating in the career fair. Okay, so now I want to actually show you the platform, and I'm hoping this works. Let's see here. Okay, perfect. So this is what each of our students, 6th grade through 12th grade, can see when they log in. There's a section about them. And this is a sample. This is totally just like fake information. This is me. This is my account as if I was a student. So there's my picture. I'm like It's kind of like a LinkedIn profile kind of looking thing. There are surveys on here where I can get matched to different interests that I might have. So the surveys ask questions like, do you like building birdhouses? Do you like talking to people in large crowds? Do you like, working with money, for instance, is one of the questions. And so based on those 37 questions for the matchmaker, the students then get matched to a certain career. And it says, oh, based on your answers, you would be an excellent match to be an acupuncturist. And it's a kind of a career interest inventory. That's what we call it. You can see the salary, whether there's increasing demand. I think about AI a lot with this actually. It's like, how much of these increasing or decreasing demands are impacted by artificial intelligence in the future. But in any case, let's use my example from before, and I'll just type in aircraft mechanic. So let's say I matched to aircraft mechanic. Turns out that that's a good match for me personally. It's very personalized system. You can see right there, it says good match, and I can find out why, right? What are those questions that I answered? What are the answers to the questions that I provided that indicate that aircraft mechanics is a good match? So I could find that out if I wanted. But because this is a good match, what I'm going to do is I'm going to go down here and I'm going to find out which local companies hire people in this career. Turns out Mayo Clinic is on there. Right, and so, whether it's administrative assistant, right, or salesperson, or any career that we have here in Rochester, my goal, my vision would be, and our vision as a department would be to get every single career type represented on here and every single business that hires those career types. So that when our students do get matched to careers, they can think, oh, I saw that driving down the street to hockey practice, or I saw, and make that connection between their work in school and their interests and that business so that they can picture themselves working. So that's the about me. Students make resumes, as I mentioned earlier. They can list their experiences and credentials. So where have they done their education? Where have they volunteered? Where have they worked? What are some life experiences that they've had? And then they can just blast those onto a resume, which is cool. It's a pretty robust platform. Again, the thing I really want to show you is under Explore. There's over 600 career cards, just like I showed you with the aircraft mechanic. Oh, it froze again. There we go. Over 600 careers that show, again, whether it's an excellent match, good match, fair match, or poor match. Over 3,500 schools, over 1,400 majors. And then, again, with the pathways, there's 9 inclusive pathways. And those show the specific steps, like exactly what would I need to do to enter the military, for instance. Well, I got to talk to a recruiter. At least I have to fill out some paperwork. I have to go to MEPS, right, the Military Education Processing up in St. Paul. So these are things that we intentionally provide to students. So if they know, what do I do? What's the specific thing that I do for my next steps? And again, when we talk about companies, let's get rid of that aircraft mechanic filter. We've been slowly building relationships with companies, agencies, nonprofits throughout the last year or two, so that they can post the description of, the city of Rochester hires between 500 and 1,000 employees, or employs between 500 and 1,000 employees. It has a couple of opportunities that high school age students could engage with. Again, like I said, a couple of these were posted last spring. Students worked those jobs over the summer. Rochester Olmsted Youth Council is one that's been up recently. So every single student in Rochester Public Schools can see this. They don't have to walk past the billboard or maybe miss the billboard because they're on their phone or something. They can go here. It's an all-inclusive place where they can see it. And we push this out to students. thing with this that I really, really think is useful for our students is that the staff contact information for who works there is just posted right there, and that they can see that. The location, the contact information. So who would I call if I'm interested in hearing more about Rochester Motor Cars? Where is it located? And then a description of some of the, like I said, jobs that are there. Students can filter their employees by, or their students can filter their opportunities by, whether it's most recently posted, whether it's positions that are available, or whether they're matched to my career personally. So there's a lot of like personalization within this system. It's really a top-notch, one of the best software platforms out there for this purpose. So going back to our little presentation here, I think I was told I had till about 12:50, and then I'd like to take some questions. But as you can see on your screen, there's a QR code there. You can hold your phone camera up. If you or someone you know runs a business or a nonprofit or an agency and you'd like to get involved or post your information about your company and your opportunities for students on here, all you have to do is just fill that form out. It'll look like this. It's like a Google form. All you have to put is the name of your agency or business, your first name, last name, email address, and potentially a phone number. And then that will come to myself and my colleague, Don, and we will contact you and get connected and make sure that you have a profile on there as you'd like. Any questions about what I shared? Go ahead, Joseph.
If I remember correctly, thank you. If I remember correctly, here in Rochester used to be company the same name, Zero, and it used to be headhunting company. Is it coincidence or is the same or?
That must be a coincidence. Zello used to be known as, I'm gonna get this wrong, probably Career Connections or something like that. It's a Canadian company based in Quebec, I believe.
Oh.
So I'm not familiar with the Rochester company Zello, and I would have to imagine it's just a coincidence. But yeah, thanks for asking that. Go ahead.
Yeah, what percentage of students actually use this, and how is the information updated?
So in the past year, we've been doing implementation around our curriculum. Our goal is for 100% of students to be ready for post-secondary. Because it was our first year of implementation last year, the percentage of students who engaged in these lessons, who engaged in this material, was directly related to the school buildings and their prioritizing when it was delivered. So offering time and space and staff to teach it. So for example, at like Willow Creek Middle School, 92% of 8th graders, did the things that we were asking them to do. So that's a pretty high number. It's another good example. I think John Adams was close to 90% as well. So middle schools really prioritized it in the 7th and 8th grade class. They call it 21st century skills or integrated technology careers class too. At our high schools, it's a little bit bigger of a lift. There are fewer students last year who engaged in this. One change that we made this year was to dedicate at least one time per month. So that's 9 times throughout the year that they're directly, proactively, intentionally instructed on this material. So we're hoping that the high school level goes up. Our elementary school counselors pushed into the classroom a number of times last year. Those numbers were also really good, but of course they don't see the work-based learning side of it at that K-5 level. Sure.
Couple questions. One is from an operational point of view. How do you as a counselor, did you say there were 50?
About 50, yeah, 49.
How do you as a person relate to students?
That's a great question. So the question being, and correct me if I heard you wrong, but what I heard you asking was, as a counselor, how do I relate to students and the data that they've provided on this assessment? Is that correct? Is that what you're asking? So one of the things, as I said earlier about being able to check to see if a student has been progressing towards certain developmental milestones, you can do that in terms of like, have they done it or have they not? But I think the thing that I really love as a counselor doing more is helping students to ask the questions of themselves. why did I get, aircraft mechanic? I keep coming back to that example, but what are those things about my answers that led me toward thinking around that? And why did it match me to that? The answers on the assessment are one thing, right? But the discussion about the answers is kind of where the heart of the work is for me. So those kinds of questions are what I love asking as a counselor.
Reason I asked that question, many years ago, I took a similar kind of evaluation. It was advised that I be a mine safety inspector. Now, the closest I ever came to that was and I was invited to be the speaker for the annual United Mine Workers. Caused me to think back on what my advice was. I finally got to be related to that job, being a mine inspector. Now, the second question I wanted to ask. Recently, the newspaper pointed out that there's a 35.1% delinquency in the school system. To what extent do the counselors affect attendance of the students so you can even participate in this program?
Yeah, attendance is a issue that's front and center for everyone in education in Minnesota, nationally. The bounce back from the COVID pandemic, we're still wanting to push the envelope on helping students attend in person at school. I think to answer your question directly, our school counselors set goals and take actions around helping students remove barriers to accessing education. And so in part, what that means is what's keeping students at home, right? Are there behaviors or mindsets around students learning and student success that are impeding students from wanting to engage in school? Our hope is that material like this helps students to find kind of that inner spark, that inner strength, that inner aspiration to show up and learn, in addition to removing other barriers. So that's a big deal. Attendance is a big deal. Yeah. It's not the only intervention we're doing. We have a whole team of folks, involved in, specific research-based attendance works strategies that are going to do it. But this is a small piece of kind of that work as well.
Thank you. Not a member, but yes. Just an observation as a father of two currently employing in public school here. There's a lot of focus on technology because I've had at least 2 or 3 apps here that's for school alone, right? But questions kind of swirl in my head is, what are the involvement between the school and the parents? Parents of different socioeconomic situations, right? And having worked abroad, whenever I drop my kids up at school, I noticed there's also a lot of kids that I used to work with abroad, Somali, Sudanese. I even saw some kids. Yeah, so anyway, and those kids, usually when we're working with them, we involve a lot with the parents too, because we kind of have to understand from the vantage point that the parents probably didn't have that much of preparation to kind of push their kids, right? Because outside school, it's really you counting on the parents to push them, right? And or at least be somewhat interested in what they're currently doing and what they're working on. So I think there maybe is something that we could sort of get more involved with in school in order to try to push that out.
Yeah, absolutely. Thank you for that. I think family involvement, caregiver and parent involvement is one of the #1 elements of our strategy. As a person who just became an RPS parent yesterday at the start of our kindergarten year, I'm thank you, Ash, very excited about, becoming more involved as well. I'd love to chat with you, after this maybe. From a technology standpoint and from an engagement standpoint, the Zello program does have a family account access, so families can see exactly everything that educators see that their individual students are doing in the platform. And in that way, actually, one of the things that research says is that as students start bringing those conversations home to the dinner table, start bringing conversations to their community around the things that their heart, is speaking to them about education around, the more that families get more involved in other aspects of the education as well. So I'm excited about that. Got about 1 minute left. I have one question, and then I know it's a hard stop.
Alex, question for you around the types of opportunities to be focused. Sure, Rotary has, we do like exchange programs. There's like Camp Enterprise, which is like a business camp.
Sure.
Are those the types of opportunities that should also go on this site, or is it more of a career internship type thing?
I think any and all opportunities that high school age students could engage with should be posted probably. We can maybe take a look on a case-by-case basis on that, but yeah, definitely. So, thank you so much. This was such an honor to speak to you. I appreciate it. Thank you for lunch.
Thank you so much, Alex. I want to thank our participating volunteers today. And before we do that, Alex, in honor of your presentation today, we will be giving a donation to Legacy Project in your name. I want to go ahead and remind you that there is no regular meeting next week at the VFW here. It will be instead at the golf, Willow Creek, and please join us that afternoon. Then the next opportunity is September 11th here back at the VFW, where our district governor, Glenn Bowers, will be presenting. And thank you to all our volunteers, John Woodruff, Sergeant at Arms, Sarah Gilliland, four-way test, Craig for the reflection, George for being greeter, Frank for the happy thoughts, and also Mark for introduction. And of course, none of this would be possible without Joseph at the test.